Hello everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm going to run through another behind the shot video. You're going to check out this fine art fashion portrait style shoot. So here you can see two canvas backdrops. We've got one that's totally green, one that has a texture on it and a lighter area in the middle, and then two further backgrounds on the floor. All of these were created via gravity backdrops. I purchased these a while ago. I do make my own backdrops, but these are ones I actually purchased. And I've just got two on the floor. They're different colours. In fact, they're all slightly different colour, but I'm not bothered because I will be fixing that later on in post. Now, in terms of the lighting, we've got this octobox with a grid. I want the light to be very, very channeled. I want it to be very, very controlled because I want to make the background go dark. I don't want too much spill. I want it to be moody and fine art, very much like a painting, a little bit of a Renaissance style of work. So we've got the Godox AD600B, that's camera right above eye level pointing down. And then for a little bit of a kick, we've got the impact strip box again with a grid, and we're using the Godox AD200 for that, and that's off to camera left. So if you just check out the actual set itself from a distance, you can see right now that we have two light setup. We've got a background, and then we've got a side section which is giving us a corner essentially, and I quite like that look where you have a corner of a space. It just again adds a little bit of dimension rather than just having a totally flat back, which doesn't really give any sense of depth. On the floor we've got a few trees. Well, they're not really trees, they're just dried out branches just to add a little bit of an interest. And then the lighting is again pretty straightforward. Now, I'm shooting on the 70-200 2.8L. This is the Mark I Canon telephoto lens. I love it because it's versatile. You can sit back, just shoot away, zoom in. You can get close-ups, half body, 3/4 and full lengths, all from the comfort of one spot. And if you're shooting a big collection, or if you're just lazy like me and you don't want to move in and out, then going with a top quality telephoto lens like this, you won't sacrifice anything when it comes to image quality. Now, here we have one of the pictures straight out of camera. You can see what it looks like right now. I'm going to go through the retouching portion now of how I'd go about sorting this out and harmonizing all the colors and all the different colors that we have in the backgrounds and on the floor. Alright, so here we are in Photoshop. We're in Camera Raw right now, and before we get started on the edit, if you found any of this video useful, or if you think this is useful, or if you've actually got to this stage and you're watching this video, then obviously you've been enjoying what you've seen so far, I presume. Hit that like button, whatever you do, hit that like button, knock that subscription bell notification thing on, and leave a comment, man. I make these videos, I'm making them because I want to give something back. I'm thinking people might find it useful. I'm not making them to make any money off YouTube or anything like that. I don't need to make money from YouTube, and the last thing I want to do is become a YouTuber. Right, so let me know what you think. Let's go on with the edit, right? Okay, so what do we have? Camera Raw, here we are, f7.1. That was what I was shooting with. 1/60 second, ISO 200, 70-200 at 70mm, right? So what issues do we have? Well, we need to get rid of this octobox. And, I often take photographs and the octobox, so the modifier, is in the frame because it sometimes has to be. You need to get it in close enough to get the light quality that you want. And that does happen. Get rid of the light stand here, clean up the floor a little bit, sort out the brackets here. Now, in terms of actual edit in Camera Raw, look how beautiful the 70-200 is. It's such a beautiful lens, right? And you can see the colours straight out of camera, pretty good. All I'm going to do, I'm going to pull down, I'm going to pull down the white balance a little bit, just cool it off a bit there. And I always add a bit of sharpening to start off with in Camera Raw. And I'm going to open that up. Let's get into it. Now, I'm going to be using the content-aware fill, right? So I'm just going to select this guy, Command-Shift, fill that up there. And then what I will do is I will select this guy. And even though I could crop, I'm going to show you something right now. I'm just going to show you how well the content-aware fill works if you do it in batches like so. Again, content aware fill. Look at that. That's bloody amazing, right? It's just absolutely fantastic. And then I'm going to crop in a little bit because I don't need so much headroom. I'm just going to pull this down. I'm going to centralize her. I do like to keep a little bit of headroom, you know, because it's just nice. It just opens up the picture, gives her a bit of scale there, and that looks pretty good to me. Now, what I do want to do, I just want to come down here. There's a couple of little white bits here that I don't like. I'll do the content aware fill. I'm just holding down the shift key as I select these, and then backspace, and I get rid of them all together all at once. And this little white area here, I'll do the same with that. I could use a clone tool, healing brush, same thing. Okay, so this is a deep blue green, and here we've got a light green. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to match these colors. So what I'll do is I'll get the brush. I'm going to make a nice soft brush, nice and big. There we go, that looks good. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and I'm going to sample this color here, or even this color here. And then what I'm going to do is I'll actually paint on a new layer and I'll set the layer to color. Okay, and then I will start to paint that color in here. And you can see we've already matched up the two backgrounds, and I'll pull in a little bit of this aqua here, this little blue color. I'll put a couple of dabs of that, and I'll also sample this more greeny tone here. Maybe I'll drop in a little bit of that, just so we've got a little bit more harmonizing with the palette over here. Maybe I'll put a little bit there and a little bit there, and if I don't like it, I'll just come back in with this kind of neutral brown and I'll just soften it. Perfect. I'll do the same here. I'll pick this brown here on the floor, and then I will paint this green section here, and I'll make the brush a little bit smaller just so I can get in and around the shoe. And there you go. What I can also do is I could always get the simple patch tool. Let's first merge those two layers, get the patch tool, and I can just get rid of this little line here. This was a line where the two backdrops kind of met, so I'll just clean up that line just by using the patch tool and eliminating the texture there. I'm just going to get rid of this twig right next to a foot because it's irritating me, and that guy there. Okay, so there we brought everything together. It works quite well. What I want to do is I want to darken the ground a little bit as well. So I'm just going to use the curves here. I'm going to pull down the... Where are we? What are we doing? Okay, I still had the patch tool selected from before. Let's try that again. Hit the curves. There we go. Pull down the highlights like so. And then what I will do... and I actually quite like the darker image like this. It works quite nice for me. So I'm gonna leave it like that, but what I'll do is I'll get a nice big soft brush set to black, and I'll use a 30% opacity, and I'll paint the light back in onto the model's face. I'll paint it in onto her shoulders, onto the clothing, and what this is going to do is just going to, once again, it's going to draw the focus onto the model, because the model now has become considerably lighter than the background. We're going to be really bringing attention to the clothes. I'm going to lighten her face, a little bit on her hair, and you are essentially painting with light here. I'll add a little bit to this foot, and a little bit here, a little bit to the bottom, and I'll just show you the mask that we're creating. This is what we're actually doing. This is where the light is being painted back on the model. If you can hear noise in the background, I've just put the kids to sleep, but they don't want to go to sleep because they're really excited because we're going back to the UK soon. And they're naughty little buggers, both of them. Anyway, as you can see, I'm just painting the light in at 30% at a time. It allows me to just to build up the effects. I might not want it fully. So let's turn off the before and after. And if we think it's a little bit too dark, we can pull this entire layer opacity right down to 0, and then I can just bring it up incrementally until I get something that I'm liking, and I'm 60%, that magic number. Boom, there we go. before, after. So we've got that in. I'm just going to zoom into the face. I'm going to see if anything needs doing. Really, does it need doing? Well, I could say this area around here could do with a bit of smoothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge all this down because I'm happy with that. I'm going to hit my frequency separation action. Where are we? Here we go. This is it. I'm going to come onto the low frequency. I'm going to pick the mixer brush tool, and then all I will do is I'm just going to paint. I'm going to paint, and I'm just going to blend any areas where the highlight and the shadows, that transitional point, just to smooth. And I'll pull a little bit more light in under the eye, and I just clean up that chin. Honestly, I'm going to do very little here, and I'm going to just blend and touch, and I think that is all I really want to do for now. Let's turn that back on. There, we've just cleaned up a couple of little patches there on the face, and you know, that's it, man. That's pretty much done. Now, what I could also do at this point is I could add a little grade. So let's do that. Let's come into color balance, and let's have a little play. Let's come into the shadows, and let's add a little bit of blue in the shadows, +3. And in the highlights, let's add a little bit of yellow, and maybe even a little bit of magenta. Ooh, I quite like that. In the highlights, maybe in the mid-tones, we go towards a little bit of, no, let's drop a little bit of blue in the mid-tone, just there, +1. So we'll see the before, we'll see the after. It's subtle, and sometimes that's all it needs to be. Before, after. That looks pretty good. I'll merge all that down, and I think we're done. What I'll also just do here, I'm just going to use the patch tool again. I'm going to select this white dot, this, and these are just scratches and bits that I've accumulated on the backdrop over time, because it is pretty old. And like I said, these are gravity backdrops, which I've had for quite a long time actually. Wonderful backdrops, and yeah. So that looks good to me. Let's just have a look at a before and an after. Let's do an F12 to revert. That was the before, and that's the after. Wonderful, right? That's it. Hopefully you found the video useful. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, leave a comment, man. I'll see you in the next one.